What's up, guys? It's your boy RTR Movie Man, and we back with another podcast, another episode going on the two teams which I see even already this early into the SEC play, the two teams that are in the driver's seat to make the SEC championship game. Now, obviously, there's a lot of football to be played, and there's a lot that could happen in this time. But if I were to speculate, and if I were to say, based on the remaining strength of schedules ahead, also including the records of the teams, there are two teams in particular who I say are in the driver's seat to make the SEC championship. So yeah, let me go ahead and get into it. The first team is the Ole Miss Rebels. So Ole Miss is already 3-0 in SEC play, and the remaining strength of schedule is not that difficult. They just beat number four LSU, who now is top 15. Whether they stay that high, I don't know. But Ole Miss, they have two straight weeks where they play on the road at Georgia and at Oklahoma, and but then after that they play versus South Carolina, versus Florida, at Mississippi State. Now maybe Florida turns things around, given that Dallas Wilson is a big playmaker for them now that he came back. DJ Lagway is getting healthy, but I'm not. I'm not so. And Jaden Baugh went off against Texas, but I'm not yet sold on Florida yet to being even in the top half of this conference still. And Mississippi State, that could be a trap. That would probably be more of a trap game just because Mississippi State has already a couple losses and whatnot, but the two main opponents obviously is Georgia and Oklahoma, and this is the thing with Ole Miss is where there could be a situation where you lose one of these games or maybe even both and still make the SEC championship. So if we go in a situation where Ole Miss finishes 11-1 or 12 whatever it is, and then they win the SEC championship game, they are very solidly in the college football playoffs. Now, if they lost two games and then win the SEC, obviously they're still in there. But here's a scenario for you where Ole Miss loses two games to Georgia and Oklahoma. Florida, Mississippi State, South Carolina remain unranked teams, and then Ole Miss then loses in the SEC championship, finishing with a three-loss record. I will go ahead and say, given that I said the same thing last year for SMU, to where they would have where the championship game should have been getting their opportunity to play into the playoffs. I would say based on, of course, it's based on how the rest of the league plays out and the rest of college football plays out. There might be a scenario where Ole Miss's uh, schedule, they do not have any quality wins because look at who they play in conference. They play at Kentucky, uh, Arkansas. They played LSU, Georgia, Oklahoma. So they play Florida, Mississippi State, South Carolina, Arkansas, Kentucky. Those are like five of the worst teams in the SEC right now. Mississippi State might come in, improve something. Maybe Florida gets a game or two. South Carolina, I'm sure will definitely get a game or whatnot. These are five of the worst teams in the SEC. And for all we know, LSU, with the way LSU's offense has been, they might fall and be a very middle of the pack SEC team. They may not be as good as we make it out to be. So their quality wins would really be actually this Tulane squad. And if I'm Ole Miss, I am really rooting for Tulane. And there's a good chance that Tulane might be the group of five representative because they just took down one of the better teams in their conference, East Carolina, in a great match that I saw last night. But outside after East Carolina, Tulane, the only team they have to go through is Memphis. If they can beat Memphis, then they might just be in the driver's seat to make the college football playoffs. Of course, that would mean they would probably face off USF, who, let me see, or either Memphis again actually, because I believe USF does play at Memphis. Yes, so USF plays at Memphis. So there's a chance that the winner of the Group G5 would go in. Personally, I would like to see two American teams give make it, which I don't know if the committee is ready for that, but but the American Conference does have a better record against the Power Four than the ACC. I'll just let that sink in. And if you want a video, I can make a video on that. The Voice of College Football made a video going over that too, so check that out. But yeah, Tulane, they already have two wins against Power Five opponents. Now they did get destroyed, manhandled by Ole Miss. I think Retzloff completed his first pass with 9 seconds left in the second quarter, right before half, and it was a horrendous showing. However, Duke could be one of the better ACC teams, and with the way that the team is on an uphill trend, they beat NC State and and whatnot. This Duke team could probably be a quality win for Tulane, and obviously Northwestern sucks, but it's still a Power Four opponent. So yeah, Tulane might have a good enough a good enough schedule to where even if they, let's say they lose at Memphis, but then they go and beat Memphis or beat USF, beat North Texas, whoever they beat, they can make it. And that's also a thing. The rest of their schedule is weak for their regular season. They avoid Navy, North Texas, and South Florida. So if I'm Ole Miss, I am really hoping, praying for Tulane to uh, run the table so that they have that quality win and say, hey, we beaten a playoff team, and while we may have three losses, we may still get in. We should still get in. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that because they're unless, well, it also depends how it plays out. But if we were looking at how it played out last year and seeing like the quality teams, most teams being 1-2 loss with some good wins on their schedule, I don't see I don't see how that could really help Ole Miss. So, yeah, while Ole Miss, yes, is in the driver's seat at the moment, part of it is because of their weaker strength of schedule, and that's the same thing for the next team I'm going to talk about here is the Texas A&M Aggies. They have they have Florida coming up, which again I know people are going to say is a trap game. Which I don't believe so because Florida has kind of taken the element of surprise by the way they played against Texas. That's going to show up on tape, and Texas A&M's defense is amazing this year. I really don't see anyone on the schedule beating them. Now, I'm sure someone will beat them. Maybe Texas pulls it off, LSU, Missouri, but this is even too the these ranked opponents are even worse than the ranked opponents that Ole Miss plays. Now they do have to play Florida. Arkansas can be tough, and Texas could be maybe not as bad of a team as we think of so far, or at least where they are ranked. We'll have to see, but Texas A&M could most definitely afford a loss and make the playoffs, or will make a lot, take a loss and now absolutely go to the SEC championship. They do have a win at Notre Dame, and Notre Dame is most likely going to run the table and finish a two-loss team. So there's that. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I do find it interesting that the two teams at the top of the conference so far, Ole Miss and A&M, are the two teams with like the easiest strength of schedules remaining in the SEC, and because of that, they're already undefeated, and they have a very weak strength of schedule going forward. So yeah, from what it seems like, these guys are in their driver's seat. Texas A&M is a very complete team. Ole Miss has an elite offense. Their defense has been questionable, but they played Arkansas, who's a really good offense and whatnot. They shut down Tulane, so we'll see with Ole Miss and whatnot. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate you tuning in, and peace.